We've all heard this philosophical question. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? In the world of big business, if companies are left alone to regulate themselves, will they do right by the consumer? Conservatives hold steadfast to the belief that less government,
tax cuts,
tax relief,
and more tax cuts are the cure-all to all of our economic woes.
Tax cuts.
But they forget one economic truth. Big business serves itself. In layman's terms, they're greedy.
Greed is good. Greed is right.
Take, for instance, the mortgage crisis. Many loyal to big business try to place the blame solely on people who couldn't afford loans and bash the current administration for trying to keep some of these homeowners out of foreclosure.
How about this, President and new administration? Why don't you put up a website to have people vote on the internet as a referendum to see if we really want to subsidize the losers' mortgages?
What the all-knowing, all-seeing Rick Santilli and short-sighted people like him seem to forget is that the mortgage lenders themselves are the ones who knowingly issued the risky loans in the first place. What about their responsibility? Ultimately, this mess began with them. And if we do nothing, even more homes will go into foreclosure, resulting in the further depreciation of existing home values. After taking $175 billion in bailout money since the fall of 2008, insurance giant AIG found it necessary to give $165 million in bonuses to the very employees whose risky trades brought the company to near collapse. Come on. Despite this gleaming truth, staunch conservatives, without so much as an afterthought, still cling to the belief that the free markets should govern themselves.
I think the deregulation was probably helpful to the growth of our economy.
You and I both know what happens when the teacher leaves the classroom.
What kind of behavior do you call this?
When money's involved, most people can't be trusted. Haven't we learned that without rules and competent enforcement, ethics goes out the window? Just ask Bernie Madoff and Texas billionaire Alan Stanford. You get the point. For years, tax breaks have been given to companies under the blind assumption that it would create more jobs and raise wages. What has that approach gotten us? More jobs shipped overseas and cut wages, while executives have felt it necessary to give themselves raises on top of their existing multi-million-dollar salaries. Just think about it for a moment. If we had completely allowed big business to govern itself, children would still be working in sweatshops. We'd be gambling with our health every time we eat meat, and the drugs we take might be as effective as a Tic Tac, and the list goes on. Instead of just facing reality, some politicians sneer at the thought of more government oversight and don't hesitate to call anyone who thinks otherwise a socialist. But hey, when you're beholden to the corporations that got you in office in the first place, and you're scared to speak out against divisive figures like Rush Limbaugh,
I don't want this to work. I hope he fails.
you might actually think that free markets should govern themselves. But doesn't our current economic situation prove otherwise? Shouldn't we, the people, demand higher standards from corporations and a government that ensures fair and ethical business practices? Or do we continue to ride this same economic roller coaster over and over again? See you next time with another scoop of pure logic.